So in times like these, when economic uncertainty has reared its ugly head once more, a lot of people really stop to consider their financial position in life. And they wonder to themselves if all the excesses, financially or their life, are necessary. At this time, a lot of belt tightening occurs, and a lot of people consider this to be negative in some way, shape, or form. However, what if you thought about simplification in a different way altogether? What if doing with less was the way to getting more? In other words, can abundance spring from minimalism? We'll talk about that next on BTP Fusion. What's up, you guys? You're watching BTP Fusion, where it's our mission to inspire you to take imperfect action on your finances and business through the power of technology. Help us in that mission by pounding that like button and dropping us a comment if you like what we have to say, and especially if you don't like what we have to say. We're not perfect here, and we appreciate the input from our viewers to help us improve and deliver the content that is needed in today's world. So when markets and economies go south, there's a natural tendency, a reflex really, for people to look at things in their life and trim what they can. They do this in an effort to maintain solvency and really as a bridge till the next wave of prosperity hits. It's an unfortunate side effect of economic downturns. You know, it rains on the righteous and the unrighteous all the same. And for most of us, should this downward trend continue, it means we'll more than likely have to do with less. The question though, is this a bad thing? Is having less clutter in our lives really all that bad? Can it lead to even greater things and outcomes in our personal lives, business and financial lives? The answer to that is yes. Yes, it can. To be even more specific, the philosophy of minimalism can lead to less cluttering of your personal and financial and technical life, while at the same time giving you greater and greater material prosperity. Let me explain what I mean. But first, let me describe for you the philosophy of minimalism. A lot of people consider minimalism to be a lifestyle of absolute deprivation. You know, someone who lives out of a Volkswagen van, parked illegally in front of their building, taking a shower every morning out of a bucket, poorly shaven and or groomed. You know, a hippie. I'm describing a dirty 70s style hippie, but that is a vision that quite a few people have of a minimalist lifestyle, including myself for quite a bit. However, minimalism can mean different things to different people. It can mean living the van life and getting rid of all your earthly possessions, except for, of course, your van. It can mean living in a tiny 6 by 6 foot house in the middle of the woods with no water, no electricity, and living off of blueberries that you find in the bushes. It can also mean eliminating the excesses of your life and focusing in on what is important to you. Some touted benefits of living a minimalist lifestyle can include helping to clarify priorities. When you remove one distraction or piece of clutter, you'll recognize 5 more. You then identify the essentials and you eliminate the rest, to quote Greg McKeown of the book Essentialism. Minimalism redefines enough. What do I mean by that? Enough is not a neutral state. It's gratitude for what you already have. Minimalism ignites or even reignites passion. That thing you used to love but don't have time or space or energy for. Minimalism will reignite it with abundance and bring your soul to life by eliminating the things that you don't need and that are wasting your time. Simpler, minimalist living can restore order. That feeling of overwhelm dissipates as you name priorities and you set boundaries and restore the order of your family, work, purpose, and passion. Routine and rhythms flow with a renewed purpose. You learn to enjoy everyday things. Bubbles in the backyard, tickles in the morning, walks through the woods, just hanging with your friends with nothing to do but shooting the breeze. For a lot of people, excess steals these moments of joy simply by pursuing their material ends. So getting rid of those leaves room for the truly simple things to bring you joy. Simple living activates courage. Now, a simple life replaces fear with courage. A purposeful life of less calls us out of a life of fitting in, of complacency and conformity. You've heard this phrase before, but people oftentimes pursue things and buy things to impress people that they don't like. When you purposely live for less, that impulse tends to go away. And when you prioritize your happiness motivating you and not impressing others, then you can truly experience the joy that material things bring to you. And it gives us greater purpose. We're meant for more than just surviving our life. When we shed the excess, we discover the gifts and talents we were created with to share with the world. Never underestimate the benefits of using minimalism to thrive in your life. Instead of just getting by, keep going, and settling for what you have. Every step you take towards being simple is leading you to a positive state of being in which living with less is more than enough. If you break it down like George McKeown, I'm a poet and I know it, what minimalism is really about is making the wisest possible investment of your time and energy in order to operate at our highest point of contribution. Rachel Crawford states it in a slightly different way by saying, minimalism is a guardrail, not a destination. It keeps us moving towards a meaningful life by allowing us to more easily identify and eliminate distractions. Now, I have my own thoughts on minimalism, synthesized from what I've learned from others, of course. And to me, minimalism is about ridding your life of the unneeded excess in an effort to make the wisest possible investments of your time, energy, and resources, or your money. And to me, minimalism is about ridding your life of the unneeded excesses in an effort to make it the wisest possible investments of your time, energy, and resources, your money, in order to operate at your greatest level of contribution and have enough of all three to really focus to achieve your dreams. So in reality, I was a minimalist and I didn't even know it. I've always been focused on using what I needed and saving any excesses that I had, in terms of financial resources anyway, for the purposes of investing. You see, as you accumulate stuff, you accumulate distractions, things that take up your time and your energy and rob your attention from the things that truly need it. Leaving all that behind can lead you to discover what you truly need to focus on. And that can lead you to discovering your true passions. But more importantly, especially in this time of economic uncertainty, it leads us to a life that's not that heavy on the wallet. I can't tell you what is going to happen in the next couple of months. The stock market may continue to tank, affecting the economy in general, leading to a recession, the likes of which no one has ever experienced. Or it could rebound in the next couple of weeks and everything could be back to normal and, everyone continues on as if nothing happened. But what I can tell you is that if you have the financial resources to weather the storm, then if and when things do return to normal, you'll be in that much better of a financial position. In other videos, I've talked about the order of operations of wealth creation. And I keep telling you, I need to come up with a catchier acronym than that. But once you understand it, it can become a blueprint of wealth creation for your life. I don't want to do another 10-minute video on the whole thing, so I'll just give you a quick synopsis. Basically, it's about the steps you need to take to accumulate wealth if you start from nothing. Starting with getting a skill. In other words, flipping burgers just won't pay the bills. It's an okay job to have if you're in high school and just need extra cash for clothes and cell phones and stuff like that. But to pay your bills long term, it won't work, particularly if you're not down with minimalism. This is where college typically comes in. But in the spirit of minimalism, do you really need a college degree? Not really. Now, it is typically easier to have a high-paying job with one, but as we're seeing more and more, just because you have a college degree doesn't mean you'll get a great job. Even people with master's degrees and PhDs are getting squeezed out of good job opportunities. The idea is to get a skill that aligns with your interests and aptitude, that also pays good money. Now, it doesn't have to be a STEM-based skill. Check out one of my other videos on this topic to get more detail. That said, once you have a skill, become the best at that skill. Typically, to become the best at the skill that you've acquired, you need to have continued education. Now, this could be through more college, or it could be just by reading books on the subject, or even through an Audible subscription, or things like Skillshare, Udemy, or even YouTube, for heaven's sake. Now, those are extremely cheap ways to continue your education, and they're all not based around college. But continuing your education is an important part of this whole process. Now, get an emergency fund. This is sort of like step 2A. Not necessarily do it after step 2, maybe during step 2. But once you start making any sort of money, you should be saving up for emergencies. Times like these with coronavirus seemingly shutting down entire countries and industries, it is really important that you have something socked away. Now, don't fret on the level too much. 3 months to 6 months of your needs-based spending is standard. An ambitious goal would be 1 to 2 years of your salary. If you can hit either of those, you'll be in a fantastic position and a better position than most. Lastly, step 4, invest the rest. Invest, invest, invest. Now, investing at those levels is much easier if you live a lifestyle where excess is not important to you. In other words, embracing a minimalist philosophy. In fact, embracing a minimalist philosophy for each of these steps can supercharge each of them to really compound their effectiveness. When one thinks about minimalism, you usually think of things that you jettison and not the things that you acquire. But the true twist of minimalism and a minimalist lifestyle and a minimalist way of thinking is that when you jettison the things you truly don't need, that in turn leads you to finding the things that you are truly passionate about. If you break down your life and get rid of all the junk, including mental junk and distractions and unnecessary communications, relationships, apps, things like that, anything that truly doesn't provide value to your life, you realize that all of a sudden, you really have the time to focus on the things that do add value to your life, both from just an overall happiness perspective and from a monetary point of view. Eliminating distractions and focusing in on what you're good at and what brings you happiness will allow you to become the best at what you do. If you just do what you love and it's aligned with making you happy and making you more money, then you have financial incentives to do the things that make you happy, which has to be the most liberating feeling in the world. Doing what makes you happy and what makes you money is the ultimate validation of yourself, and is quite the confidence booster to boot. But obviously living with what you need and cutting the clutter and distractions is much cheaper than spending every nickel the second you get it on things you don't need to please people who you don't like. Those savings would obviously be plowed directly into an emergency fund. Another consequence of living minimally is that your emergency fund does not need to be as great as it would have if you had a 50,000 square foot house, a couple of Lambos, a Shark Tank, 2 Jaguars, a golf course in your backyard, etc. And conversely, it could go much further if economic hardships go for long periods of time. The effects on your investments would be quite similar. Having the money to invest is not necessarily a luxury for a lot of people, but it is much easier if your spending is much less than your earnings. And cutting the clutter will definitely allow you to do that. But another side effect is once you eliminate the noise from your life and focus on things that bring you value, your clarity on your true goals becomes greater, allowing you to resist the temptation to sell all of your investments when the chips are down. Because you're not investing with money you need right away. You have the liberty. You have the liberty to wait out bad dips. So in reality, a life of minimalism can lead you to focus in on what's important to you. But equally, a life of minimalism, if done right, can lead to material abundance. I know of one other thing that can lead to a ton of material abundance, and that's a subscription to BTB Fusion. So be sure to pound that like and subscribe button for the YouTube algorithm, and click the notification bell so you know when more great videos come your way. And drop us a comment on what your thoughts are on minimalism for abundance. Can you have both a minimalist outlook and an abundant life? Let us know in the comments down below. And remember, a goal without a plan is a wish. A goal with a plan and no action is a wish list. Take action on your finances and business using the power of technology, and we'll see you next time. Peace.